We are the Insiders, and man, are we excited to be here today.
It's a party, baby!
What's going on, guys? Welcome to this special edition of the Insiders Pro Wrestling Show. We are here tonight to, well, I think everybody pretty much that's here probably knows why we are here tonight. Don't usually do anything on a Wednesday, but a lot going on in the land of the WWE, and that is why we are here. Of course, I'm here with Jeff, and Jody's back. Of course, trying to deal a little bit with all the things that she's got going on, but we're glad to have Jody with us for this. Welcome, Jody. And of course, to my co-host, Jeff. Jeff, it's another Black Wednesday, unfortunately, my friend.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna get into it, but honestly, I'm stunned, shocked, and really upset, to be honest.
Yeah. Jody, opening thoughts.
I think they're smoking crack and not the good kind.
Yeah. What a crazy thing. I mean, I heard that this was coming early this morning. Had no idea, and then Jeff told me via text that there could be some big names, and that's an understatement. So there were indeed some big names. The word came down, I think it was around 10:30, quarter to 11 or so. And sadly, it may not be over. There may be more. And that's what I'm hearing. Could be more tomorrow. Now, if it goes like it has, it may be WWE the one day and then NXT the next. So we could be seeing NXT cuts tomorrow. But yes, this is never a fun thing to talk about. It's when we discuss this, the one thing we all have to kind of keep in mind is that this is people's livelihood. This is their job, and whether it could be their job, but it also could be a dream. And some of them had their dreams taken away, is what it comes down to. So, we all kind of think, well, yeah, they can go somewhere else, but maybe not. Some of them, of course, will be looked at, maybe some not so much. So it could be the end of, their careers, and that's what makes this a sad day. So let me welcome some people in, and then what I'm going to do is I've got some quotes I want to read. And we'll go from there, and then we're going to go, I think we're going to break it down. We'll talk about the athletes person by person who were let go. We'll kind of give all our thoughts. Of course, we'll read your comments as well. So let's see. Jen Carter. Hello, Jen. Kevin Correa. What's up, Kevin? Warren is here. Crazy day in WWE land. Yes, it was. Big Boy Dally. Hello to you. There's Big Dan, Black Wednesday 2. Well, technically it's Black Wednesday 3 because we already had it 2. Trex Edie's here, Wild Day, to say the least. James Chadwick, hello. Sean Suslowitz is here. What's up to you, Sean? Tough day for some good people. Absolutely. Scott Steiner is here. Janelle is here. James Grant. Who else here? Scrolling. Azan is here. Bunch of Heyman guys and girls in this batch of cuts. Randy Sam is here. We have Will Jacks. Hello to you. Let's see. We have CPTS. It's Captain Sniper PS3. There we go. I have a feeling this is not over. There'll be more. That's the rumor. Joshua Mickelson is here. Butterspark is here. Seven Fiend is here. Let's see. Roman Reigns is here saying, acknowledge me. We have Steve Taker Walker. Hello, Steve, saying, yo. Shane Loki is here. Brian Coleman is here. Hello to you. All right. So let me just read a few things. I saw these right before I left work today. So first thing here, this is an interesting little thing from CM Punk. So we all know the feelings that Mr. Punk has toward WWE. He was talking to John Squires on Twitter. John said, one thing that has consistently bummed me out about WWE in recent years is that there's been a wealth of incredible talent in that company, but they rarely seem to really know what to do with any of it. This latest wave of releases is a truly stunning reflection of that issue. CM Punk replies, it's like a movie with a blockbuster budget and cast. But if it's written by creatively bankrupt nincompoops, specifically for an audience of one, in a language nobody understands anymore, it's trash. But people watch it because they like movies. So that is CM Punk. Never a loss for words for him, and doesn't usually hold anything back. So, okay. I'm going to also read. Now, we know that after this has happened, shortly after, Aleister Black went on a Twitch stream with his wife. His wife, Zelina Vega, has a Twitch stream that she does. It's a gaming stream usually. She did invite people on Aleister's Twitter to come and to listen to their live stream. So I'm just going to read you some stuff that Aleister had to say in that, in case you guys didn't get to listen. So I'm not sad. I'm not depressed, Black said. I'm okay. I'm sure there's going to be dark days coming up. There's going to be bad days, you know. It's all kind of up and down, and I think we should have a nice conversation. I'm getting texts like crazy. There's a crazy hype train going on. Black revealed the reason he was given for his release by the company. It was an answer that was similar to the one Alexander Wolf was given when he was told his WWE contract wouldn't be extended recently. Whatever the reason, Black is thankful for his time with WWE. I got told it was budget cuts. Black said, whether this is budget cuts or not, it doesn't matter. I'm here now, and I've had a great time. I've had a phenomenal 4 or 5 years in WWE. If I didn't, we wouldn't have had so many viewers right now, and I'm just really thankful for a lot of things that WWE has done for me. Most thankful I am is that I was given a platform that, although in a limited amount, I was able to give you guys part of myself and my character. One part that is difficult for Black is the struggle to get himself onto TV, calling the last 2 years a slow death for him. Described his interactions with WWE creatives, finding him intriguing. Let me go to the next section here. Black says, it's bittersweet because I owe everything to WWE, not to diminish my prior work, but obviously my prior work had gotten me to the dance. And, you know, I think the last 2 years were a slow death for me. I think that it was very hard to get the creative approved, despite numerous conversations that I've had with Vince and everybody trying really hard. It did numbers on my self-esteem, too, because at one point you're like, the ratings are good, the numbers are good, the merch is good, and why are we not, you know? It's like one of those things where they, like, the word intrigue was always there. Oh, we find you very intriguing. I'm like, okay, good. Let's present something there. Let's do something. I've thrown so many things at the wall because I keep creating characters and gimmicks and storylines over and over and over and over and over, you know, and it's, I think my character, like the first conversation I ever had, the funniest thing is I remember all these things. I had said to Hunter, I said, look, I just want to be all the metal bands that kids used to rebel against the system, against their parents. As cliched as that sounds, it's relatable, right? Because everybody, especially nowadays, especially when you're young, it's so difficult to be understood by a different generation. And then I have one more. He says then it's definitely one of the best things to come out of being in WWE. Oh, they asked him about meeting his wife. He'd say it was the best thing. They asked him if that was the best thing that came out of it. So definitely one of the best things to come out of being in WWE is meeting her. That's a good way of putting it. Again, that's another reason I'm not bitter. I'm not angry at all. I think I had a great time. And, you know, you never know what happens in the future. You never know. Weirder things have happened. But right now, I think whatever the roads will lead, it's going to be a fun ride. Absolutely. Now, he went on to also say that he is not currently necessarily interested in going to AEW or Impact. He's going to go back to the Netherlands, spend some time. He said he may wrestle a few matches there. But he said hopefully a road may lead him back to the WWE someday. So that was all from Aleister Black. Okay. You guys can comment on that. Jeff, what do you think of Aleister's? I mean, very gracious, obviously. And most of them are. I mean, I've really never heard anyone come out of this like, you know, oh my God, those guys suck and blah, 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 blah. It'd be silly to do that because you're just going to make yourself look bad and then you're going to ruin you're going to burn bridges and stuff. So I've never really heard them do that. But, you know, pretty interesting comments. But I mean, the comments the thing that stuck with me there is, and you guys can both obviously respond to this, the whole thing about, you know, we had the story, we had the merch, we had all that, and yet they didn't seem like they were interested. That's what kind of stuck with me in that whole conversation. So, Jeff, what did you think? Jeff, you still with us? Jeff froze.
Jeff froze.
Jeff froze. Well, go ahead, Jody. What did you think about that?
I mean, you know, it makes me worry about other characters similar of that nature, because
the same thing. Yeah.
I mean, you know, you're kind of at the point where, look, we all know how Vince McMahon runs his company. He has a certain prototype that he likes, and those are the people that he's going to push. He's always been that way. I don't think he's ever going to change when it comes to that. He has a certain cookie cutter kind of wrestler that he likes, and anything that breaks that mold just kind of, he's like, you know, and they can keep coming to him with story after story, idea after idea, and he's just going to go, you know, let's stick Roman back in there, or Brock, or, you know, he has his preferences, and unfortunately, being the owner of a company and someone who's running the company, he can do what he wants. You know, you've heard a lot of good and bad things about Vince McMahon. You know, you've had people that have been released that have said, you know, he really cares about everybody, and, you know, he's very supportive of people. I mean, you've had people, you know, sing his praises, and then you've had people on the other side of the flip side of the coin too, saying that he's not like that. But, you know, that's kind of my takeaway from it. It sucks. I don't agree with a lot of these releases, and it makes me worry for people like Bray Wyatt that do break that mold, and what's going to happen with him. And until somebody else is running that company, I don't really see it changing. I think people that break that cookie cutter mold will always be the ones that don't get the attention they deserve.
Yeah, I agree. And yeah, I mean, Aleister mentioned Bray. I see Wrestling had told me that. You know, mentioned about, well, a few things. Aleister went on to talk about dirt sheets and saying how you really can't give them any credibility. And then also went on to say that he really would have enjoyed to work with Bray Wyatt, and actually thanked him as well. Didn't come out and say what character that he is thanking him for, but I would have to imagine that, because he was saying Bray, you know, helped him, gave him some ideas and stuff like that. So I would have to imagine it was this character that he's with now. That the All-Father character. I'm kind of almost betting that he probably helped him with that. So, but he also said that, you know, Bray had gone through a lot of the crap from the dirt sheets as well, being that, you know, people don't really know what's happening, and we all fall victim to that, and it's unfortunate, you know. But these guys are going to throw out anything they want, really, without any sort of proof and stuff like that, and you got to be careful. I'm as guilty of it as the next guy. I'll throw up a headline if I think it's something big on our Twitter, and you really have to be careful, because, again, and Jody pointed this out on Abby's, is we just don't know. You just don't know, and if someone doesn't want you to know, you're not going to know. Yeah. You're just not going to know. It's their business, and if they don't want you to know it, they don't want you to know. Jeff is suffering through a power outage. So we may be on another eternal stream. We had this happen once before with Jeff, and we couldn't stop the stream. So we'll see. Hopefully Jeff will get his power back. But for now, he lost his power, which sucks. So all right, let me read a few of your comments, and we'll go from there. Reading the stories this morning, Big Boy Dally said, "I do get why Raw's been bad." Yeah. So if you didn't know this, Raw last night Monday night had its lowest ever in history viewers. In the history of Raw. Lowest ever viewership. That's not good. And I'm sure, I'm sure, some of this is playing into this. The thing I wanted to talk about, and you guys can let me know why you think this is, but it's looking like a lot of this is monetary. Now, at least that's what they're saying. And I think when we go down the list of these people who we had been let go, we're going to see that they all seem to be a little bit of a different story. Braun Strowman, for one, could have very well been a monetary thing. Braun was making a lot of money, $1 million, I believe it was. So Braun may have just been a victim of being cut for budgets. Now, they did say that it was budget cuts. I don't know that it's a lot of budget cuts or they're all budget cuts. Now, I think Braun certainly could have been. But, I think when you think about it, I think Braun was probably the most surprising of these. Buddy Murphy, he hasn't been on TV in a long time. Lana, while she was tagging with Naomi, again, Lana was never really in a big spotlight other than the tag team stuff and the tables that she went through time after time after time. And Aleister was surprising only because, I mean, if this would have happened before the promos that he was doing recently, no one would have thought twice about it because he's been gone for so long. So now the other thing that you kind of have to figure into this a little bit too is that there were some things going around saying that some of these people could have asked for their release. Now, WWE didn't used to just up and grant them. They would kind of give people a problem with that. But apparently they've changed their policies on that. And that could have a lot to do with the backstage stuff that's going on and the new people that are taking over. And maybe they just, they're not sticklers about it anymore like they used to be. So James Grant. So I'm not gonna give that any credence. The rumors that are going around, because first of all, again, as I said earlier, we're talking about people's jobs, and I'm not gonna pass along. That was shared on Facebook, but there is absolutely zero credence to any of that. Big Dan in the chat had saw it too. The names that you have posted in the chat, and I'm not calling you out on purpose. You probably read it just like he did. But I'm not going to give any credence to that unless I have that confirmed. I'm not going to name names of other people because we just don't know, and I'm not going to go that direction until that becomes reality. So let's just hope that we don't get any more than what we already have. I'm shocked.
You Bray Wyatt alone.
Yeah, right.
Right.
I'm shocked about Braun, and I'm so sorry for Ruby Riott. NXT is the only WWE show I care about. It's been bad, but it's getting better and more enjoyable. I think NXT has been great. Scott Steiner, I don't know. I think it's been really, really good lately. Tom, aka Aleister, was fantastic. He was blunt and honest. Deanna, did you listen to the Twitch stream? Yeah, I didn't get a chance to listen to it. I'm probably going to do it later.
I listened to about half of it.
Did you? Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I feel bad for Braun. I felt bad for all of them. But, I mean, Braun was just in a title match.
Yeah.
Just in a title match. When you think, Jody, of a Vince guy, you had just mentioned this, quote, unquote, you think of a Vince guy. A lot of times you think of a guy that looks like Braun Strowman. He's big. He's agile. He is the type of person, he's got that type of personality who could certainly, I mean, he had the title, during COVID. He's over with the fans. The fans love him. He sold merch. So you'd kind of think he was a Vince guy, but, we saw that documentary on Braun that they put out not that long ago. And, he had that match with Shane McMahon. So you kind of think, well, usually when a superstar has a match with Shane McMahon, they're trying to put that guy over. Mm-hmm. So again, I was pretty shocked at Braun.
Yeah, I was talking to Q Wrestling on the phone this morning actually, and he was one of the ones, we were talking about, rumors it being a big name and major superstars. I'm like, I don't know who. It depends what you consider a major superstar. You know what I mean? Like, and I threw out Braun Strowman's name, and I said it could be Braun Strowman, and then he was talking about it could be Aleister Black, and it ended up being both of them. I think those two were the ones that I'm most surprised by. I mean, the other ones you were kind of like, okay, yeah, it sucks, but you've got those two people who are incredibly talented in the ring, and they could have done so much with Braun Strowman. Like you said, he was just in a title match. He had that match with Shane, and it felt like, he was starting to get a little bit of a push. And I don't know. It just, it's, I hate to bring Bray back into it, but I feel bad for him too. He's lost his entire Wyatt family now. He's the only one left.
Yeah. I thought of that too. I mean, Braun was obviously the godfather of his child. So, and again now, obviously Bray was lamenting over losing Brody Lee, and now he loses who could have been his best friend in the locker room. And Alexa Bliss, she tweeted out a little broken heart as well. I'm sure she was upset over Braun. She did. Alexa, stop. But yeah, I mean, she tweeted it out too, so I'm sure she was unhappy about it as well. I mean, no one. Seth Rollins tweeted out earlier as well. Same thing, broken heart emoji. None of these guys, they work with each other. None of these guys are going to be happy about this, and they're all expressing the point. The problem is they still work at WWE, so they can't come out and give their feelings on it. They can't come out and say, well, this and this is just garbage, blah, blah, blah. They can't do that. So, all right, let me see. Maj has a question. Aleister Black should go to AEW and be the new leader of the Dark Order, but AEW should do this: make Brody the Dark Father, but have Aleister take Brody's role in the ring. Yeah, I mean, it'd be kind of cool to see. Hey, Jeff's back.
I still don't have my computer up, but I figured I'd try to do the phone thing just to see.
Oh, there you go.
How things were until that comes back up. So.
Yeah, you look pretty good. All right. Yeah, you're good. Yeah, you're good. Well, welcome back. Yeah, Jeff's having power problems. Probably thunderstorms in the area?
Yeah, and then I heard a pop, so.
Hit a transformer or something maybe. Yeah, that's always fun. So, Maj, I don't know. From what Aleister said, he has no intention of going to AEW or Impact right now. He just wants to get away, wants to go home. Wants to go back and I guess maybe see family, maybe just spend some time. What he said was in the Netherlands. He's going to wrestle maybe a little bit there, but I don't think we're going to see Aleister go to AEW. Now, some people, I'm sure, probably will. AEW, I'm sure, they'd be thrilled to get Braun Strowman. I would think they'd be happy to get Lana, especially having Miro there. So I'm sure some of them will go to AEW, but look, the other thing too is that AEW doesn't have endless amounts of money. So yes, they have a billionaire owner, but they have other things to do. They can't be just throwing money at every person that they cut. So, I don't think we're going to see them all go there. Maybe we'll get a few, but so Jeff, we were just kind of talking about the surprise of Braun. And how much, I think of all of them. And as I mentioned to Jody, like even Aleister wouldn't have been a surprise at all if they haven't been doing the promos like they were with him recently. So otherwise it really wouldn't have been a surprise because we haven't seen him. But Braun really, really was a surprise to me.
Yeah, I heard you talking about how he's basically your prototypical Vince guy.
Yeah.
Big guy, can move. Can talk when given the opportunity to. So, yeah, I mean, it's just that one for me, while I was shocked by Aleister Black because of all of the stuff they've recently done with him, I think Braun was the most surprising for me. Especially male. Obviously, we'll get to the women, but yeah, he was definitely the most surprising because, I mean, for goodness sakes, the man was just in a title match a couple weeks ago, I believe. So, how do you go from you're in a triple threat for the WWE title to now you're out of work today, less than a month removed from that match? It just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, I agree. Hello, Jesse Callan. Hello, some new people that just got here. Andrew Stevens, Steve Taker Walker, Maj, of course, if I didn't say hello to you before. C Wrestling says, I do wonder if WWE are looking at the ratings and thinking these people have been here a while, not moved the needle, not improved ratings, etc. I don't know. I still think, and you guys can tell me whether or not you agree with me, I still think that when it comes to Raw, SmackDown, I think they could just kind of let it coast because SmackDown's being held together by Roman in that storyline. When you look at it, and the other things that are going on Raw now, the tag team thing with the Usos and everything like that, they're okay there. But Raw has been a mess for a while, and I think honestly that they're letting it coast. I think they're letting it go until probably when the fans return, and I think that's when they're going to make changes to Raw. I don't think we're going.
What's been the big missing piece from Monday Night Raw?
You can say it.
It's Bray Wyatt. I mean, as much as we love Little Miss Bliss, she's not Bray Wyatt. And he hasn't been on TV for several weeks now. And I'm not surprised that their ratings just keep going further and further down. I bet if you go back, and I'm sure C Wrestling can do this, go back and look at the ratings the last time Bray Wyatt was on television and tell me they weren't a lot higher than they are right now and were previously than that time that he was on Monday Night Raw. You're missing a big draw from Monday Night Raw.
Yeah. There's so many things about Raw that are just, I mean, everybody's calling it Raw match because it's that's all it is. It's just a repeat after repeat after repeat. And I think, now again, I could be wrong because I'm no ratings expert, but I think that they're going to lose even more people now because I think that a lot of the reason why people tuned in, especially this past Raw, is because they wanted to see if they were getting Kofi Mania too. And now that didn't happen, and they're going right back to Lashley and Drew again for another pay-per-view, I don't think that's going to make anyone happy. Jeff, I could be wrong, but I think that's why a lot of people tuned in, and now, they're just getting another rematch. And while people are saying, well, this could be Brock Lesnar, Heyman mentioned Brock Lesnar. So is this where Brock comes in and takes out Drew, or vice versa? And that could be it. But, I mean, is Brock Lesnar alone going to save Raw? I don't know.
Short answer, hell no. And, I mean, here's the thing. I think as wrestling fans, and, I plan on doing this anyway, I think we're giving WWE way too much credit for actually having a plan. I don't think they have a plan, if I'm being honest, because a lot of this just doesn't make sense. Maybe I'm wrong. I'd love to be wrong with the people that they've released. I don't think that it makes a whole hell of a lot of sense that they continue to release people that are talented people. I mean, and it goes to a larger issue, I believe, of this is a company that has shown us, they've given us proof that they don't know how to book all of their talent. Like, they've shown us that. You've got people that come in from the indies or different companies that have been on fire in other places. I mean, absolutely on fire. And then the death knell to their popularity is going to WWE in a lot of cases. The talent that Buddy Murphy has, the talent that Aleister Black has, Ruby Riott, if people haven't seen her before she ended up in WWE, I mean, the talent that these people have is unreal. And to see how WWE doesn't book them, has them back in the back and catering. They have these people just kind of sitting there watching the show, and they continue to give us these same matches over and over again. Meanwhile, they have 7 active women on their SmackDown roster. 7. And one of those women hasn't been on TV since she lost to Bianca Belair at WrestleMania 37.
Yep.
So, I mean, it doesn't make any sense to me what they're doing. And yeah, they're going to continue to lose viewers because people are just fed up. And I'll be honest with you, I'm one of those fans that I've tried my best to give them the benefit of the doubt, but then every time we do that, they just spit right back in our faces. So, I mean, there's only so many times you can put up with it before you say, you know what, screw you. I'll watch when I can, but in terms of me trying to be a loyal viewer of your stuff, I'm not going to care until you start caring a little bit more.
And if they're holding, that's a great point, Jeff. And if they're holding out for July 16th or whenever that is, I'll tell you, and I made this comment earlier, you better be careful because you may not get as many live fans at those shows as you think you're going to.
No.
Because that's the best way they could show it, Jeff, is that don't blow money on tickets to these events. If you know how excited the fans are going to be to come back to arenas because of COVID and all that kind of stuff, that only goes so far. If you know, and I'm sure they'll pack SmackDown. I have no doubt. But if they know what they're going to get on Raw and things don't change before that date, who the hell's going to buy a ticket? I mean, I wouldn't spend, and you know these tickets aren't going to be cheap. They're going to be hundreds and hundreds of dollars probably for decent seats. So are you really going to spend, I mean, would anyone in the chat spend, a couple $100 of your hard-earned money? Plus, these arenas may not be close to a lot of people. You might have to travel 2 hours, 3 hours just to get to one of them. Are you going to be willing to do that? Blow a whole day, blow a bunch of money to go and sit down and watch this show live that has been utter garbage for the last 3, 4, not even probably last couple months? I know I wouldn't. Yeah, I don't know. All right, before we get to the elephants in the room, and I see you guys are all talking about why you're speculating and stuff like that on what we're going to get to that. Before we do, Jeff, I know you had a list, so let's just talk about who was let go. And we'll talk a little bit about these guys that were let go today. So I know Jeff had stuff. Obviously, Jeff has no power, so we'll just go through this. We'll kind of fly by the seat of our pants a little bit here. Obviously, we talked about Braun already. We talked a lot about Aleister Black, but let's mention some of the people we really haven't talked about much. Santana Garret. Let's talk about now. I had read she was just in line for her debut.
Mm-hmm. This Friday
on SmackDown this coming Friday. Now, Jeff, I'll turn to you here because she was from, where was she before? Was she in Impact?
That is a great question.
I think I read that she was in Impact.
She was at one point. I do remember that.
Okay. I think I read somewhere that someone was saying that she should go back to Impact. Mm-hmm. So I was kind of assuming, okay, she, I'm assuming that she was. Where was she recently before she came to WWE? Was she in NXT first?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she was at NXT.
Okay. This is what I'm talking about earlier, guys. And Jody, you can concur with this with me if you feel the same way. But this is how I was talking to the guys in the chat earlier about how this could be someone who had her shot. She was going to get her shot on primetime television, which, when you look at this, could have been her one and only shot at the big time. I mean, okay, if she was on Impact, she was on NXT, but, going to the main roster is a big deal. And having her shot coming up this Friday, I mean, that really sucks. That really absolutely sucks. You know, look, I get business is business. I get that. But there's ways to kind of do things. And if she had a match this Friday, would it have been so bad? I don't know. I'm not even really going to speculate because we don't know the ins and outs of it either. Wednesday, for some reason, is a target day. I don't know why. I don't know if it's financials. If Wednesday is a cutoff day for some things, it may be that. But I don't know. To me, that's pretty lousy when the woman works her way up to the main roster and never gets a chance to be there. But go ahead, Jody.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, and then you're spending, you know, how much money promoting, bringing Eva Marie back? Like, what's the point? Like, and you even heard rumors that she's not even going to wrestle. She's just going to be there.
Could be a valet from,
you know, she's going to be like, there's been a lot of speculation about her managing Parker. Yeah. You know, but when was the last time we saw Carmella on TV? Like, there's all these other people there that just are not getting utilized. And, you know, it really sucks for someone like her that, you know, like I said, like you said, Friday was supposed to be her debut and now she's not going to get it. And that's a big blow to her career. I mean, to get called up to the main roster and then never, ever actually do anything with it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's one of those stories where, like I said, this is these people's dream, right? Is to, you know, they were in XT, they were in smaller promotions and stuff like that, but their dream, you know, I'm going to be on SmackDown. Oh my God, I'm going to be on SmackDown. And it, you know, it never happens. But yeah, it's sad. Let's talk about Ruby Riott. This is really interesting to me because who the hell is left in the tag division for the women? Who is left?
I don't know.
No damn body except the champions.
Yeah, you just dumped the Iconics. Yep. Now you're getting rid of Ruby Riott. So unless they team Liv up with someone right away, you've got next to nothing left. And all this tells me is, and I've said this on our show.
What are you going to do? Liv Morgan with Naomi? I mean,
I don't know. Like, I mean, and all this tells me is that they don't give one damn less about tag team wrestling. I've said this before, and that I don't understand that at all. I don't understand that at all, but it really looks to me like that's the case. I don't think that they care about it one damn bit. I really don't. And WWE, WWF used to be one of the biggest organizations to have tag team. I mean, my gosh, the history, the Hart Foundation, the Wild Samoans, the Strongbow Brothers, on and on and on and on. These great
Hardy Boys.
Right, the Hardy Boys, one of the best tag teams ever. The Dudley Boys. I mean, such a rich tradition of tag teams, and then you had the women, but I mean, who's left? I don't understand, you know, Ruby, and this makes me wonder too. Did they know ahead of time? Because that embrace that Liv and Ruby had after their match looked a little odd to me the way it was. Because it looked as if, now, yes, they were playing up that Ruby was hurt, and she went over there and kind of kneeled next to her. When you see close-up shots and stuff of that picture, I wonder if they knew. Because it really looked like Liv had been upset, and I'm sure she really is. But
unless she knew that Ruby was going to ask for her release, maybe she might have been one of the ones that asked for it.
Could be.
I mean, if you are in a tag team, for me personally, if I was in a company that completely undervalues their tag team division, I wouldn't want to stay either.
Yeah. And how many shots did they, you know, they could have had shots at that title. They were in that battle royal, but they would never give them the titles. Mm-hmm. So they had shot after shot after shot, but it never looked like they were going anywhere. And listen, Ruby is an incredible athlete. From what I've seen of her, she's an incredible athlete. So Butterspark wants to know, where does Liv go? I honestly don't know, man. That's a great question. Liv's been in a tag team and again, you have to kind of almost be concerned with Liv too, because again, there's another person who just doesn't seem like they see the talent that they have there. So that has to be a concern as well. But Jeff, I mean, who the hell is going to be in the women's tag division? Did we lose Jeff again? I think we did. Jeff lost his phone now. Oh,
it sucks. I mean, you've got Dana Brooke and Mandy Rose, but again, when was the last time? How often do we see them on TV? We just don't. Like, I don't know. If they really don't value their tag team division, why even do it? Like, I just don't.
I don't get it. And you know what? Their biggest competition right now in that, that other company, they are spotlighting their tag division, spotlighting it. They've got more tag matches on that show than they have anything else. So, yeah, I don't get it. I don't get it. Warren says Vince doesn't like tag teams. James Grant says Mandy Rose and Dana. Yeah, but I mean, now you're starting to count like the amount on one hand of tag teams that you have.
Yeah, and then you've got these belts sitting around, so they're probably not going to go anywhere anytime soon because they got nobody to fight with.
Yeah.
So then you've got another tag team that is holding the belts that you can't put on TV because you got nobody to put them up against with.
Yeah. C said they touched Liv. They got major issues. Me. Oh, dude.
I mean, if I were Liv Morgan, I don't know that I would want to stay at that point. I really don't. Like, I don't know what they're doing unless I don't know. Are they thinking about ending the brand split and just being one show? I don't know.
I don't know whether or not they're considering like doing an early draft. I really don't know. I don't know. Jeff, I was talking about the where do you think where does the women's tag division go? I mean, is there a women's tag division now?
I mean, it's non-existent, and we forgot to bring up Dana Brooke and Mandy Rose.
Right. Yep.
So you've got Dana Brooke and Mandy Rose. You've got Tamina and Natty. I think that's it.
And they're breaking up Nia and Shayna, it looks like. I mean, we're getting we're getting Shayna versus Alexa. So if they're breaking the two of those up, there goes another tag team.
Yeah, and I mean, like I said earlier, right now, SmackDown has 7 active women. I don't know if everyone has noticed this, but the women's segments for WWE programming have gotten they've decreased, and the writing for those women, in my opinion, the booking doesn't make a lot of sense. It's disrespectful what they've done to Nikki Cross.
Oh yeah, that's
in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
But then you get rid of Ruby Riott, who, if you're not as familiar with her career before WWE, I would challenge you to go watch her on YouTube as Heidi Lovelace.
Yeah.
Her matches, she is one of the best wrestlers in the world, and WWE never figured out how in the hell to use her. Now, I'll say this. She had a good run, but not nearly what it should have been. So, like, what do you do? Are you going to bring up? Are you going to have a bunch of call-ups from NXT? Are you like what are you going to do? Because right now, as a fan, what you're telling me, WWE, is you don't give a rat's ass about your women's division. You definitely don't care about the women's tag team championships. So what do you want me to do? How do you want me as a fan to be invested in this division when you're regressing instead of getting better with your women's programs, and then you've got 7 women on one show? And I think Jody was saying this, but I think I heard this when I was trying to sign back in. get rid of freaking brand split, unify your titles. Don't have a Universal and WWE title. Don't have a SmackDown Women's Championship and a Raw Women's Championship. Have one set of tag team titles. Have the U.S. title. Have the IC title, and call it a day. Because right now, WWE, which I never thought I would say this, your roster is too thin to have all of those belts. It just doesn't make sense. And this is just a dumb, in my opinion, just a dumb move from them. The last thing they should have done is gotten rid of any women's competitors, because that's where they are lacking desperately. And it used to be one of their strong suits.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it absolutely was. All right. So let's go to the next part of this, and you guys are already talking about it anyway. So where do they go? Where do they go? Because like Jeff had just said, it is getting kind of thin. Like, barring bringing up, and if their plan is now, are we going to purge NXT? Are we going to bring all these people? So bring these women, whoever it's going to be, bring, Shotzi Blackheart up, bring Ember Moon up, are we just going to start stockpiling from NXT? And how is Triple H going to be all that fond of that, of getting his entire show pretty much stripped of everybody? Where, I don't know, maybe they bring Adam Cole. Maybe they bring, Kyle O'Reilly up. Somebody said today, is Karrion Kross done? They're going to a 4-man match with him at the next TakeOver. Is he going to lose and then go right to the main roster? Are they going to just strip NXT, fill all of these roster spots with people from NXT? But then where does that leave NXT? Then you're looking at another show, which, and I get it. They're bringing in new talent, but you don't want to leave that show with nothing, where you're going to have a few people here and there left, and then that show ends up being garbage either. So, I don't know. Some of you guys are talking about that. We'll talk about too the whole sale thing. We'll get to that, because that's another thing that's going around too. But where the hell do they go from here? I mean, who is going to replace these holes now? You're not just talking people that have been sitting. I mean, some of them have, but people like Strowman, Lana, they haven't been sitting in catering. They've been on the shows. So now you're talking about people who do need to be replaced at some point. You have some people who haven't been seen. Keith Lee. Where the hell is Keith Lee? Where is Mia Yim? Where are some of these people who have not been seen? And then you're giving us on Raw, you're giving us, Dijakovic, and that tag team is just awful from the start. No one liked it. But you're giving us that? Where do they go? Jody, you can chime in. Where do they go from here?
I don't know. I think it might be time for someone else to step up and run the company. I think Triple H would do a fantastic job running the company. Like you guys have said, like, NXT is the best show that WWE's got right now, and I think that's for a reason. I think it's because it's run by the right people who know how to value people and use people, and I think they need to end the brand split and have people go back and forth, and then you never know what you're going to get. I think Raw, and for the most part, has become too predictable, and that's why they're losing viewers, because they already know what they're going to get. So they'll just watch highlights on YouTube the next day. Like, I was sick, and that's why I didn't watch it on Monday. I was in the hospital, but I knew that the only thing that I would go watch highlights of the next day was any segment with Alexa Bliss. There's no point sitting through a 3-hour show. And I think that's another thing they can do with Raw too. Get rid of it being a 3-hour show. Make it a 2-hour show, just like SmackDown. And I think you make it so people have a hard time sitting for 3 hours watching the same thing that they've watched for weeks on end, the same matches, the same matchups, and they've got to change something before fans start to come back. Because like you said, they don't want to come back and watch that live.
I wouldn't
want to come back and watch. We looked at going to a show, when they started to announce dates, there's one that's not too far from us. And I'm like, what's the point?
Yep.
Like, Bray's not on TV. So what's the point? Like, and I think they need to end the brand split. I think they need to cut Raw down to 2 hours. And I think they need to give Triple H some more control over what these storylines are doing and how to use people correctly.
Will Jack says, get rid of Vince. If it were that easy. Look, Vince is going nowhere until he chooses to go. That's all there is to it. Dalton wants to know, where is Bray Wyatt? Yeah, we all do.
He's the missing piece from Raw, and I hate to put that kind of pressure on him because I know that's a lot of pressure to put on one person, but he's carried that show for months and months and months. Pretty much through the entire pandemic, Bray Wyatt has been carrying that show on his shoulders. And that's the missing piece from Raw. Like you said, Roman is carrying SmackDown. There's some good storylines there. Especially, with Seth Rollins and stuff like that. There's some good storylines on SmackDown. Bray is your missing piece from Raw.
They already run Roman way too much. Steve G, I'm not a Roman fan by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm not going to agree with that because everything Roman has done there has been pretty good. I don't see even the stuff they're doing now with the brothers. You can kind of see where that's going, and that's good TV. That is just good television, and the storyline is good. Roman is doing what he should have done years and years ago, and what he petitioned to do. Roman wanted to do this and was never given the opportunity. So I wonder who said no, you can't. And now all of a sudden they're eating crow. Because this is what Roman was meant to do, and he's doing a very damn good job with it. So, Jody just said it. Bray isn't there to a lot. He's the draw, not the people who have been released. As horrible it is to say, if they aren't drawing, why would WWE keep them? This is still a fault of WWE, though. They should make them draws. Yes, and that, Jeff, that's a perfect point. And CM Punk said it. CM Punk said it in that comment that I read earlier. Why is it so hard for this creative team? Now, look, we all know that Vince has final say in a lot of this stuff. Vince is the one that's changing scripts an hour before Raw comes on the air. I get it. But, guys, look, the bottom line is Vince is going nowhere. But why can't the creative in this company figure out the talent that they have, like CM Punk mentioned, and work with these people and let them be creative? Why is that a problem? Why is that a problem?
Asuka hasn't been used right for months.
I don't understand why that's a problem. If a guy like Aleister is coming out and saying, and he didn't, like I said, he didn't bash them here, but he came out and said, I come to them, I give them ideas. It seems to be working. But then they turn around and they don't like it. Who the hell is making this decision? Who are the people that, and I can't believe that this is all Vince. I get it. He's the one on top. He's the one, but he's got to let these other people do this stuff. If creative is the problem, and my God, you heard this from Jericho. You heard this from, people that have left this company a while now. You keep hearing the same thing over and over and over and over again, and it's creative. My God, when do you get it through your head? It's time to dump creative. It's time to get new creative in the building. Go ahead, Jeff.
Well, when your creative is writing to please Vince and instead of pleasing the fans, that's your number one problem. Vince, they're writing to cater to what Vince likes. And as we see, that's not something that the fans want. So it comes down to self-preservation. Are they going to come up with something that's completely unique and different? No. Why? Because they want a job. They don't want to be on the chopping block. So that's where some of the problem lies. Vince, I hate to say what I'm about to say, But until Vince gives up the reins of the company, it's going to be running to the ground, because the same formula that he used back in the day no longer works, period. Fans have options now. Fans don't have to be patient with your long-term storytelling, especially when your long-term storytelling it includes rematches every week.
Ugh.
They don't have to pay attention to that because there's so many other options. So at this point, what it comes down to is WWE, in my opinion, is the cocky prick in a fraternity that knows he's got it made and he doesn't have to, bow down to you or anything else. And he's just going to give you what he wants to give you because, damn it, it's his fraternity and that's what he wants to give you. That's WWE right now. They're the Biff of like the wrestling world because they just don't give a crap. Like they say, here, listen, we know that you ordered steak, but we're going to give you a bologna sandwich and you're going to like it. And, it's really not steak at all, but, you'll forget about it once you take about 2 or 3 bites. And people are really tired of that crap. They're tired of getting the same old stuff over and over again. And I'll say this, I'm guilty of this. I said it a little bit earlier. I'm guilty of giving them the benefit of the doubt when they've given me no reason to do that. So I have to treat them with the same energy that they're giving me as a fan. And I'm not going to give them the benefit of the doubt anymore because you can't. Because there's no justification at this point for a show and a company that gets this amount of money to produce a weekly show that's 3 hours long that they can't get out of because Vince loves money too much. So he would never reduce that 3rd hour because he loves money too much and he's greedy. Like I'm tired as a fan of them constantly bashing me over the head, telling me what I'm gonna like when the WWE universe has spoken and they've spoken overwhelmingly that they don't give a shit. like WWE, the fans have said, listen, at some point, give us what we want or we're going to revolt. And the numbers are bearing that out. The numbers, the ratings, they're bearing that out. People are getting tired of the same old BS.
Agreed. Dalton said, what did Dalton say? I don't know if I want to keep watching WWE. Okay. I was going to say, I thought you said, I don't have to keep watching wrestling anymore. Dude, there is options. You don't. Many. There are a lot of other options out there. And sometimes all you have to do is give it a chance. And you'll find that you might like something a lot better than you might have thought that you would. So, Vince buying WCW is the worst thing that could have happened. Wow, Warren, you're going back a ways. You're going back a ways. Dalton, look, you're probably not the only one. I mean, like Jeff said, this stuff keeps happening. It's hard to, and I made that comment. I comment at WWE when they put out their post of who they let go today. I commented in there with our Twitter, and I said to them, you can't just keep doing this over and over and over again, and the fans just are going to just keep accepting it. Like Jeff was saying, you can't just keep doing this. And people are just going to say, yeah, okay, it's just another day and it's another round of cuts. It's going to get to a point where people are going to be pissed off. And maybe you're so, the ego is such that you can't think to yourself of a time when people won't watch. But I'm telling you, you're going to get to a point. And God, this kills me because as a sports fan, I've got a sports team with an owner that is just like Vince McMahon. And he does the same damn thing with the team. And it's like he just spits out whatever he wants and he doesn't give a damn. And I look, Vince is a huge icon in this business. a huge icon, and I am not going to deny anything that man has done for this business or the past or anything like that. But there comes a time when you've got to have, look, even he in his position, the biggest presidents of companies have advisors. And even he has advisors, whether it's people who he's hired, whether it's his family, but they have to be in his ear saying, this isn't working. Someone has to be a voice and say, this is not working anymore. Now, like Jeff said, I get it. That the people who are way down the ladder aren't going to do it because like he said, they're afraid of losing their jobs. And I get that. That's their livelihood. So they're going to do whatever they get told to do. All right. Boy, oh boy. Do we think as a group that this has a deeper meaning? A lot of people were looking at this today and saying there really seems like there is something up here that we're not seeing, that something is behind the scenes going on. Now, this has been rumored for a while. We've seen the things with the stock sell-offs. We've seen, other things that we kind of thought, and, now we saw the move to Peacock that no one saw coming. They had their own app that was doing pretty well. WWE Network and everything was doing pretty well, and they moved it all. So is this a future? Is this a sign of a future sale? Is that where this is going? Are they going to sell this company? Would that's the thing too. Would Vince? That's it. Would Vince sell the company? And is that where this is headed? People are rumoring a lot of big companies. Somebody said Comcast. Somebody said AT&T, which is, I think they're associated with Comcast. Somebody said Disney. Disney would make a lot of sense because they own Fox already. Is that where this is going? I'll start. Go ahead, Jeff. What do you think? Do you think we're going to see in the future a sale? And would this be something that Vince would actually do?
I don't think it's something that Vince would do because Vince is too full of himself, in my opinion. And I don't say that from I think he's a horrible person kind of place, but I think you have to have a certain mindset if you're a billionaire when it comes to business moves and different things like that. And I think that him selling the WWE would be almost like him admitting defeat. Yeah. But I think, just my opinion, I think that it's possible that some people have gotten in his ear. Maybe his family has gotten in his ear and said, okay, you should at least consider it. And here's why. The problem here is that the wrestling business is not the same today that it was in 1999, 2000, and in that era. It's different. You've got so many different options. WWE ruled the land. Except getting their behinds kicked for 83 weeks straight by WCW, they really have not had a true competitor to come in, kick them in the teeth, and force them to be better, except for those 83 weeks. And that propelled the company for decades. And then that wore off, and they've had an identity crisis ever since then. And you have to look at the person that's pulling all the strings and say, okay, are you willing and ready to change to benefit your company, or has it passed you by? And I think for the last couple of years, we've seen it's passing Vince by. So I think the sell to, and I finally got lights back. I think the sell to, not the sell, but the deal with Peacock is telling. I don't know how many people noticed this, but when WWE made that deal with Peacock, ESPN got pissed They
Yep.
stopped running some of their stuff on ESPN. Why?
Yep.
Because now you've got another network who does sporting events as well, and you're dealing with their competitor. I truly believe that the plan might have been for Disney to purchase it, but as the saying goes, money talks, BS walks. And I think that maybe, just maybe, this Peacock deal was a litmus test to see how much can we buy this company for. We already have all the content on our platform. If you're NBC, how much do we have to pay? I think for the right amount, I think Vince would sell. I just do. I think if you could get him somewhere between, I don't know, $8 and $10 billion, I think he'd sell in a heartbeat.
Interesting. Joe, do you think it's a sale? Is that where you think that they're heading here?
I think it's highly possible. I'm gonna agree with Jeff on a lot of this. Like, money talks. I think Vince would sell for the right amount.
Yeah.
Maybe he's finally come to the realization that, hey, I'm getting too old to run this company. Not physically, like, just, something's going wrong here and something has to change, or they won't have a company anymore. They'll end up going bankrupt. And I think he would rather sell now when he can get good money for it, when their, capital is higher, than if he keeps running the company into the ground, they have no money left, and then he's not going to get $8 to $10 billion for it.
Very good point. A lot of people are saying, saying that Disney would kill it, blah, blah, blah. Dalton saying if Disney buys it, we'll all be dead well, here's the thing. If Disney does get it, I think they would put Fox, or the Fox side of their business, in charge of it. I think whoever is running the Fox side with SmackDown and everything like that, whoever they have over there, I think they would probably end up putting it under that moniker. And I think it will be just on the Fox side of it. I mean, look, Disney owns Fox. That Fox is their side of sports. So that's what Disney also has ESPN as well. I mean, Disney has so much. But I don't know. I don't know that they would kill it. Yes, will there be somebody in charge up top? Sure. But, let's look at the things that Disney's done. And yes, I get it. A lot of people don't like them because they own so much. But they have done wonders with certain things. The Marvel movies have been amazing. All that stuff they're doing there. So I don't know that would be a horrible thing. In fact, it would be a change. So, all right. So let's see. Jen Carter saying Bray is one of my favorite wrestlers in WWE. Comcast owns NBC. Yeah, it could be NBC as well, Wayne. They have ties now, obviously, with Peacock. Peacock is a division of NBC. It could be an NBC thing as well. Yeah. Alicia says, if Vince doesn't want the company, get the WWE Universe to buy into it or let them be a part of it creatively. That would be interesting, wouldn't it? Let the fans do some creative. That'd be really cool. I wonder if they are trying to increase their net worth of the company to raise capital to make a large media purchase, says Trex ED.
That's a good point.
Very good point. Hello, Chad. How are you? Vince is what you call the old dog. Comcast has got money. They shit $100 bills. And they do. Yeah, they do. They're in league with AT&T, like I said. So, yeah. Vince won't admit he's wrong. How do you think Vince's dad would feel about this? Says Brian Coleman. I don't know. Like I said, I think the disconnect is, if there's a disconnect with Vince wants this to be entertainment and maybe not as much wrestling. He renamed it
anymore.
Right. He renamed it Sports Entertainment. I said this on our podcast on Saturday. Wrestling is a dirty word now. People can't say it. I don't know if you guys knew this, but Shawn Michaels mentioned pro wrestling in his Hall of Fame acceptance speech. It got cut. McAfee mentioned pro wrestling at some point, and it got cut out of the broadcast. And he got told about it. that he doesn't want him saying that. So Vince looks at this as entertainment, which is all fine and good. But the entertainment, when you're doing entertainment, right? You're doing movies and stuff like that. You can't go back and do movies that were done. Could you imagine like how well a 60s Western would sell today in black and white in a movie theater? It won't. You can make Westerns and stuff still. They sometimes do, but you've got to modernize them. You can't have entertainment from 50 years ago come out today and expect it to sell. It's just not going to happen. So you have to do something different. You have to modernize it a little bit. And if he doesn't want to do that,
hey,
then there's a problem. Jeff's back. Hey, Jeff's got power. Disney has done a good job with Marvel and Star Wars respecting the brand. They do the same for WWE. Hopefully they have. Star Wars people will question. I'm a big fan, so I don't. But people will say they ruined it with the last trilogy. But I mean, that's more of your fans yelling about stupid stuff. Steve says Vince is about money. Well, look, any owner is going to be. That's just what they do. Adam Cole said the word pro wrestling last night on NXT. I'm sure if you go back and watch it, they probably cut it out. Chad's talking about getting an autograph from someone after. Oh, Josh Alexander's autograph. That's cool, dude. So said about releases. Massive Riot Squad fan and can't believe Liv is on her own now. Hope they all get jobs in wrestling companies, Ring of Honor, Impact, NWA, AEW. Look, if they want to. Now we heard Aleister Black, he's not looking for that right away. But if they want to, I would imagine that this group could probably all get somewhere else. They could all get in somewhere else. I don't have any doubt about that. And the last group too, that they can get a job someplace else. So, well, look, that brings us to. We're a little over an hour now. We're not going to spend too much time with you guys tonight because we've got work and stuff like that the next morning, and Jody is trying to play through pain, which is never an easy thing. So before we head out, so you guys tell us, Azan saying Brother Love is the man to blame. Pritchard might be at the point where he's a little out of touch too. That very well could be. That very well could be. Hello, Chris. But tell us, and we'll wrap this up soon. Tell us where you guys would like to see some of these people go, where you think that they could shine. And we'll do that with myself, Jody, and Jeff before we head out tonight. So tell us where you think, some of these people should go. Braun news, can Braun join AEW because of Mark Henry? That's another thing. I mentioned that a little bit earlier this afternoon to Jeff as well. Does it kind of look like some of these guys jumped ship? When a ship is on fire and you know it's going to burn and fall into the ocean, does it kind of look like maybe some of these guys may have jumped ship because they're like, nope, I'm out. I know that I'm probably at the point where now Mark Henry, Paul White, they're probably not at the top of anyone's list to come into a company for wrestling, to actually wrestle anymore. But maybe they saw the writing on the wall and they're like, I'm getting out. And maybe that was why that happened. So let's start. Go ahead. We'll start with Jody. Jody, any of the people that you don't have to name them all, but any of the people that are on the list today that stand out with you, and where would you like to see them further their career?
I would really like to see Ruby Riott go to Impact. I think she'd fit in really well there.
That would be cool.
I think Lana will probably end up in that other company just because her husband is there. I mean, that would be common sense. I don't know about Braun Strowman. I don't know. I fear that he may not be quite used very well in that other company, so I wouldn't mind seeing him go to Impact as well. Yeah, and I think Aleister is going to take some time off, and I don't blame him for that.
Jeff, can you see Braun Strowman going to Violent by Design and Impact?
Good God.
Do you imagine if they got him with the big men they've got there already? Or could you imagine Morrissey versus Braun?
Braun. Could you imagine Moose versus Braun?
Moose versus... That's the thing. Look, there's options for some of these people, and and it's not all just AEW. Yes, people are saying Deanna says Aleister could go to New Japan. Why not?
Why not?
Why not? He can go. Sure, he can. And that's why I said there's not just the big two. You've got Impact. You've got Ring of Honor. You've got MLW. You've got New Japan. So they have options. The Kook says, I know a lot of fans are thinking AEW, but there are a lot of promotions out there that could use them. Yeah, there are. It's not just a couple. There are a lot of places they can go. Some of them may feel comfortable even going to the Indies for a little while and doing some stuff in the Indies and then coming back. They might be okay with that. And look, the Indies are back again. They're not shut down. So that's another option as well if they don't mind doing that kind of thing. But, Jeff, I'll ask you the same thing. And in the chat, you can keep letting us know. Buddy Murphy to Ring of Honor, Ruby to Impact, Braun and with Joe Doring. Yeah, dude. Braun and Decay. Imagine Braun coming back in Decay with almost like a kind of a black sheep character like he had right in the beginning with Bray. Teaming with Black Taurus. Wouldn't that be something?
Feel that real nice.
Right. So, Jeff, you can give me one or two who you think that would really, really fit in well in another company.
I'll go to Aleister Black first. I think he'd be absolutely tremendous in New Japan.
Yeah.
Give me some Aleister Black and Okada. Give me him and Tanahashi. It honestly doesn't matter. Give me him and Switchblade Jay White. There's a lot of matchups there.
How about ELP?
I was just about to say. Give me that. Give me that. Buddy Murphy is another one that should go to New Japan. This is what I want to say, and then I'll give you where I really hope Ruby Riott goes. AEW, folks, has a full gigantic roster.
Mm-hmm.
They have people that they have to put on Elevation and Dark because they don't have room on Dynamite.
Yep.
They're coming up with another show, Rampage. Okay. Their roster is basically full. They just cleared out some space for women. I think those spots are going to go to the Iconics. Just my thing.
Yeah.
But not everyone should or can go to AEW. And I think if I'm these other companies, I got to step up my game. Impact, Ring of Honor, I'm looking at you. Step up your game. Get you someone that can really back you in terms of financially so you can get these names. Because I don't want to hear every single time that someone becomes available, oh, they should go to AEW. No, they shouldn't, because AEW has enough people already.
Yeah.
They've got their stuff figured out. Two things. I'd love to see Braun in NWA.
Ooh, okay.
Because I feel like he'd really fit well there. Plus, I think he wants to go back into bodybuilding, so the schedule wouldn't be as daunting as if he went to AEW. I think he's got other passions, and I'm not completely sold that he's going to pick up the phone for anyone, although I agree with Mick Foley that he should at least entertain and listen to options. I really, really, really want to see Ruby Riott go to Impact. I really do want to see her go to Impact. I think she'd make a huge splash in AEW. I think she could be, because again, people have not seen her with the handcuffs off unless you followed her indie career or, you know, where she's been previously. If you don't know anything about her previously, I mean, then you won't get it because you're like, oh, well, she always gets hurt and no, she's talented as hell. Like she just is. So I'd love to see her go to Impact or AEW, but my preference would be Impact because I want to see singles matches between her and Deanna, between her and Su Yung, between her, Jordan Grace, you name it, I want to see it. But that would be my preference there. But honestly, I think all 6 of these people are going to land on their feet wherever they choose to go, whether that's Ring of Honor. I think there's a bright future for all of these people, just depending on what they want.
Yeah, I would agree. NWA is still NWA is still on every Tuesday, Jesse. Murphy in the X division would be amazing.
Yes.
Yeah, I'd be good with that. Lana and Santana Garret are the only two I see going to AEW. Santana could also go back to Impact if she was there before. You know, they've got a pretty stacked women's division, but they would certainly take her back. Murphy for AEW because you know Omega would want the match. Andrade versus Murphy at Triple AANT. It doesn't fit Braun in NWA. I don't know, Mito. Look, NWA is very promo centric. That's what they do. And could you imagine, you know, Braun can do promos. Braun's done some cool stuff with Bray, and Braun can do promos. So they bring him in as this gigantic monster kind of a guy. I can see that. I can totally see that.
And let me ask you this too, Joe. What more credible threat to Nick Aldis's title reign,
right,
than Braun Strowman?
Right. It would honestly be like, you know, almost like another giant, like where you would have to face this big, humongous beast of a man. Yeah, I agree. Azan said Kylie Ray's in NWA. I saw that. That's really cool. That was a really cool thing in wrestling this week that we got to see. What if Braun goes back to the strongman stuff? Says Sonny, maybe he will. There's nothing that says that these guys will continue their wrestling stuff. Maybe they'll take a break like Aleister wants to. They'll go do something else for a little while, and then maybe they'll come back. Yeah, you know, some of them are young enough to do that. It's not like these guys are all old. So, yeah, Braun could be renamed Bad Adam in NWA and dominate easily. Yeah, that's what I said, you know. I agree with Jeff. I think all of these people are talented enough. You know, Lana has proven she's proven where she took all those table shots. She's proven she could take an ass kicking and still be, you know what I mean? She could come in, and if they want to team her up with her husband, they could bring her in as his valet. She worked very well in that, you know, in that aspect when she was in WWE. Aleister, like Jeff said, in New Japan, yeah, you can give me that. Just from the people that I've seen from New Japan recently and stuff like that, yeah, I can absolutely see that. And then some people are saying Buddy Murphy to a couple different places. Yeah, don't just automatically assume that they're going to all be picked up by AEW, because they can't. And someone asked me earlier on Twitter, could we see another promo for Slammiversary like we have seen, and some of these people be thrown in? Sure, although I don't know what the date is for these guys as far as signing. Now, because they're released, I don't know what the ramifications of that are, and whether they're immediate free agents, whether they could go anywhere they want right away, or whether there's a waiting period. The waiting period on the last group is July something or other. It's right before Slammiversary. So if there's a waiting period with these guys, then it won't be in time for Slammiversary. They couldn't. So it would have to be another, you know, it would have to be at another point in time they would do that. Imagine if Nick Aldis brought in Braun into Strictly Business as a hitman. See, that's what I mean. Yeah, like you can do any of this stuff. You can do any of this stuff. Andrew Stevens says, "I just watched Dark Elevation and avoid Raw altogether if possible." All right, so there you go. September, says Big Dan. Okay, well, thank you. So see, they can't be signed until September. So obviously, you're not going to get on Slammiversary or an Impact. So they're not going to advertise them for that because they're not going to get them before then. So thanks, Big Dan. Appreciate that. If Murphy goes to Impact, we need Swan versus Murphy or Brian versus Murphy. What about Brian Myers and Murphy?
Josh and Murphy.
Josh, yeah. Josh Alexander and Murphy. Yeah. With fantasy booking.
Rohit and Murphy.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah,
I know people don't like him, but TJP and Murphy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God. We probably already forget, guys. Murphy and Aleister Black had some of the best matches that we've seen in WWE over the past few years. Those guys tore it up. Whenever they fought each other, their matches were amazing. C Wrestling says Black confirmed 90 days, 2nd of September. So September 2nd would be the soonest that they could be signed with another company. So Randy Sam said, Joe, read my question. Where is your question? Is it going to be? It's going to be for All Out. Oh, okay. Yeah. All Out would be in September. So yeah, that would make sense.
And it's in Chicago, so that would be a huge. Chicago's a hot wrestling town, so that would.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Chad says, Joe, if Braun would join Team Decay, I would lose my mind. Yeah, that would be really cool. Look, they can fit right in some of these gimmicks. I mean, Braun, if he wants to, can go right into the Dark Order on AEW if they wanted to do that. Now, I know the Dark Order is kind of a little more comedy now than they are anything else. But what really stinks about Lana is she's been trying to get better in the ring. Yeah, very true. Very true. I just watched, let's see, we read that comment. Bobby Lashley theme, will be calling your name shits Braun Strowman. Josh versus Murphy, says Andrew Stevens. Joe and Jeff, could today be tied to the WWE New Japan rumors and or free up money to throw at Daniel Bryan? Maybe. I mean, that's, yeah. I mean, $1 million that they're going to cut from Braun, maybe. Yeah. Jesse says Ruby is a way better wrestler than Britt Baker, and I mean that as respectfully as possible. Well, all right. There you go. So what really hurts is Lana pulled Charlotte's pants down in the SmackDown match, says Mito. What's worse is they have pigeonholed some matches, says Deanna. All right. Well, before we go, make sure Jesse brought that up. Make sure if you're new, and I know we have a lot of familiar faces, but if you're new to our channel, make sure you hit the sub button. We really appreciate that. This is only the second time we've been on with our new branding, so I hope you're all kind of digging that. That is our new name right up on the screen there, Insiders Pro Wrestling. We've changed our branding a little bit. Some people ask why. If you weren't with us on Saturday for our podcast, the reason is because we just got away from the whole podcast thing because we're not kind of just a podcast anymore. We do more than podcasts. I will give you guys, because you were so patient and came out tonight on a day when we didn't really announce it, but I will let you know some future plans. So the future plans is that we probably around the time of the fans coming back, we are going to stream, and God, please, if you give me anything, make Raw better before we do this. But we are going to probably be streaming Raw and SmackDown. So just to let you guys all know, that was one of the little things that we were mulling over. And so we will probably be doing that on Monday and on Friday. So we kind of are at the point where we think that will be, and I hope, like I said, let's hope some big shakeup comes and Raw will be worth it, and Raw will be good to do that. So yeah, so there's that. We're going to be doing that. And yes, we really appreciate you guys coming out. Again, thank you. A lot of short notice. Of course, we didn't really know we were going to be on today. It was kind of an impromptu thing, but we kind of figured it was good to do this and chat with you guys about all of this and all of these, the releases and stuff today that we got. And let's all hope that it doesn't come, we don't get another round of it. Because we don't need it. Are you guys going to do the NW pay-per-view Sunday? We haven't really looked into NWA yet, James, but I mean, anything's a possibility down the road. I mean, if enough of you guys are interested in that, then it could be something we could look at. The only problem with what I've seen with them is that we kind of have to work it into scheduling and stuff like that, because Jeff and I do have work. Jody, of course, we all have jobs. So we kind of have to make it, might be a thing that, we'd have to look into. But, we appreciate the suggestion. Joe said, God, please make Raw better in time for that so I don't fall asleep. Yeah. Yes, please do that. Sean says, thanks for doing this tonight, guys. Have a great night. Thank you, Sean. We appreciate you coming. Yes, so there you go. Final thoughts, guys. Jody is about to pass out from her meds. Jody, what do you got as a final thought before we get on out of here?
I hope there's no more.
Good enough final thought. Yes.
Leave Bray Wyatt alone.
Yeah, we don't even want to think that. C Wrestling said there's new Bray Wyatt merch, so hopefully that's a sign. Yeah, there is. So that could be a good sign. By the way, I think I threw it up on Twitter. If you guys ordered that mask, they are shipping the end of June. So those of you who did get it, you will be getting your mask in probably early July. There's Tazzy dropping in right as the show ends. Couldn't have picked a better time, Tazzy. God, make Raw better, please, please. Hi, party people, says Tazzy. Dylan, my thought is Bray Wyatt is no, we don't want that. We don't want to talk about that.
Don't put that in the universe. I just said it. Leave Bray Wyatt alone.
We want to talk about that. James said there's no chance.
They release Bray, they're gonna have a big problem. Somebody's house is gonna get egged.
Between C Wrestling with and Bray, good Lord, man, there's gonna be trouble.
Somebody's house is getting egged and TP'd.
Oh, hashtag leave Bray alone. Tazzy, you really are late to chat. Yes, that's all right. Tazzy's working hard. He's working with the baseball team, so you can't really control that. But all right, that's it, guys. Don't forget to join us. Wow, tomorrow we've got Impact Wrestling, and it is a big show, guys. Don't be late, because we've got an Iron Man match between TJP and Josh Alexander. This is going to be a fantastic match, so don't be late. C says egged with fire. No eggs, fire. Leslie says, whoops, I'm late. It's all good. It's all good. But yes, so don't forget to join us tomorrow. Probably going to start a little earlier, about maybe like 6:45, 6:50, to give us enough time before the match starts there. So don't forget to join us for Impact. And then we'll discuss everything that happened with Impact after the show. We'll talk about that tomorrow night as well afterwards. And then, of course, we've got our weekly wrestling wrap-up show, and that is on Saturday. That'll be Saturday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hopefully, we're not spending time on there talking about more cuts. I really, really don't want to do that. Dylan says, sorry for Dylan. Don't apologize. It's all good, man. It's all good. I will just tell you that if you were late to the party, hit that notifications button. It'll help you, and you won't be late. But it's all good. That is it. Thank you, obviously, for Jody coming on. Thank you to Jeff for putting this together as quick as he did as well. And that's it, guys. Thank you for coming out tonight with us. Hope you enjoyed the show. I hope we were able to kind of clear it out, get it out in the air a little bit, talk about this a little bit, because that kind of thing always helps. So that is it, guys. I hope you have a great rest of your night. Stay safe, like we always say, and hopefully we will see you for Impact tomorrow night. Have a good night, everybody.